Mm, 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 mm. Julia TV. You know, it's funny. I was thinking it was going to take a while for you to come on. I was thinking you was going to be a little bit slower. You know what I'm saying? And then I wouldn't have to. It's funny. I was thinking I wouldn't have to deal with the thumbnail. What is this? Got it. Get that down. What's the name? But yeah, Felix Almanzar. You know, JPN Fallen. Was understand it. What you mean you can see the remnants? Still swollen. But yeah, so you know I heard from I heard from the brother, you know, King Saint. You know, he's a little bit upset with me right now. Yeah, he's a little bit upset with me right now, you know. But you know, that's the reason why he's upset. It's because actions speak louder than words. You know what I'm saying? And uh, you know, just in general for me, right? Uh, you know, I examine things. Like everybody knows that I don't take things on face value. So see, you can tell me what you want to tell me. You can tell me what you want to tell me, right? But see, at some point, I'm gonna see what you really do. See, that's where we really uh, change over from showing and telling to showing and proving. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I heard from my brother. It's like you know, look, it's like he called me to tell me right that look, everything that you saw and heard, everything that you saw and heard is not what it is. It's not. It's not what you thought, right? All right, Farm Bank of Haiti, right? Everything what you saw and heard is not what you think you saw and heard. You see what I'm saying? So, like for instance, right? You know how many times you tell me that you're not Muslim guy, we see the thumbnail right here. See, Julie TV, that whole video. Now look, I don't know if you noticed, right? But see, after I had to holler at him, right? I think he hollered at them and got the video taken down because he realized how goofy he looks. See, the problem for him is posted all over. It's in the post too. So that's why I was able to still go and get the evidence that this is how you rock. Medina, what's the deal? We just doing a quick little detour, through what caused, what sparked the today's title. You know what I'm saying? Is that there's a lot of people. See, here's the thing. Can anybody give me a good reason why you still got to talk after the action? That you go on here and put something on audio and videotape. Now, what else you put it up there for, right? Unless we supposed to witness it, right? You go up there and put something on audio and videotape, and then you come back to tell me that, nah, see what you saw, this is the reason and all of this. Like, you know how long he just stopped trying to tell me that he don't deal with the white girl no more. And it's like he be talking. It's like, yo, bro, listen, you have like a 4 or 5 year old at home that you be telling shit to and you be trying to convince them shit? He's sitting there, yo, God, and this is the reason, and she don't got no babies for me, so that's that, and that, like it's squared away now. Like in my mind, I'm not aware of what happened. See, these actions speak louder than the words. And see, sometimes what we allow to happen, we allow a nigga to speak a whole lot of words. And see, once they speak all them words, now they done portray something. They done portray themselves, portray everything as what it is not. It's a lot of people that need help right now, right? But here's the problem. The help that they need, the knowledge don't help you with that. See, the help that they need is what you call prerequisite. When you in school and you got to take certain courses, like you got to take math 1 before you can take math 2. You know what I'm saying? You got to take algebra before you can take geometry, right? You got to take geometry before you can take calculus. Before you can take trigonometry. See, you have to go. See, listen, it's not one of the main things we say. It's not one of the main things we say, right? That we got 7.5 ounces of brain, right? Like, is that not one of the things that we say is characteristic of the original man? Somebody type 1 in the box, right? If you aware of what I'm saying. if what I'm saying doesn't sound odd to you, right? That a characteristic of the original man is that he has 7.5 ounces of brain, type one in the box. Right? So we got at least one person here that's picking up what I'm putting down. Now, on top of that, right? On top of it being 7.5 ounces of brain, does it not specify, right? That well, actually, it's specified in the when it tells you about the colored man, right? But it tells you that there has to be a certain quality of brain, right? It's not grafted brain. See, your brain has to be working properly in order for you to be able to draw up and manifest this knowledge. Your brain has to be working properly. It has to be, I mean, at least within some kind of range. Let's not say perfectly, right? Because we got different people, right? We got different people, right? That is you might have a different temperament, right? We're not going to say that just one emotional state or one mental state or this person is more hyped than that person or whatever. But we know that there's a range, right? We're in the common atmosphere, the common people that we be around each other, right? We can agree, right? We can agree on how we live together, right? So that there's no disrespect. Now I don't know if you under the impression that my brain falls below that threshold. But see, everything what it is, man. See that's another thing where people get funny, man. When people get funny, and now all of a sudden, right, the 5% is whatever you make up in your mind. And see, for a person to be a barber, for you, for you to be a barber, you got to cut hair. Got to Luke Cage yourself out, Bill. Like you can't sit around and talk about how back in the days you used to cut hair. You can't talk about when I was in school in order to hair that was you got to cut hair. See, now we get to the part where we say actions speak louder than words. So you can have on a hat that say barber, but you got to actually cut hair, and then right, you got to cut hair up to a certain standard. Especially to be considered a barber by other barbers. See, yeah, you might have a couple cats around your block or whatever, right? That let you cut their hair. But if you going to be considered that thing, right, you're going to have to take that knowledge to born. That idea that you have of whoever you are, you got to take that to born. And one of the things you're going to have to go through, right, you're going to have to go through wisdom. You're going to have to go through coaching. You're going to have to go through equality. You're going to have to go through build. You're going to have to go through things, right, that you got to manifest on more levels than just with your mouth. right? And then, like I said, you out there with 85%. That's good that the 85% think you God body. But see, like I said, they just think it. What could they really point to, right? That you then distill from an idea, right, into reality, that they could just point to where, look, you ain't got to tell me nothing. See, that's when it's, that's when the knowledge is made born. See, that's when the idea is complete, when I ain't got to tell you nothing. Because it's shown and proven. But see, when what you showed and proved is not what you want me to believe, now you gotta make all these excuses. You gotta do all this explaining. See, a lot of this is just to be aware. To be aware that, listen, that type of thing that's going on, it's not gonna go down. The amount of it that's happening is not gonna go down. It's gonna go up. So you're gonna get more and more people, man, especially because, like I said, the nature of the internet. Right? Where, a person, can you could get on there, look, you could order the red and white copies of the lessons, you could order the black and gold copy of the lessons. You could join 1,000 Facebook groups. And so now what that does, that makes the level of examination got to go up. The level of examination got to go up too. You see what I'm saying? Because the see, when they say they continue daily, you gotta remember they improving the process. I mean, that's a funny word, right? For establishment, you saying you improving, but I'm saying that they're they're getting, the way that they indoctrinated people and kept people indoctrinated 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 400 years ago, throughout all them times, it changed. You see what I'm saying? Like in some simple ways, like see, when I was a kid, right, they was mostly concealing the truth by not letting you get no knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like you might hear this, you might hear about this historical event, but you don't get all of the details, right? That'll lead you to see what it's about. See, now they do it a different way, where they flood you with so much information you don't even know what's important, or you lose track of what's important because you know this this knowledge or information, whatever it is over here, is marketed to you. The things that we figured out already, right? To move around that in the last generation, they not going to they see, because this is life and death. One is love, So of course they're improving because they know if things don't change, eventually someone will catch on. Yeah, I mean, I just said I don't want to use the word improving, because uh, devilishment and improving, is kind of, because devilishment is going down and improvement is going up. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them things like, how you looking at Instagram, right? And somebody put some tragic post, like some tragedy that happens, right? And I always be like, damn, I acknowledge the post, but I don't be wanting to do thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody passed away, I'll be feeling like, nah, I don't think I want to put thumbs up on that. I don't necessarily put thumbs down, but uh, so there's that kind of thing where, you know, improving on trick knowledge is like a misnomer a little bit. It rolls off the tongue a little bit strange. But see, that's the bottom line. Is that see a lot of people you spending too much time. See, you get to the point of trying to convince me. That's what I like. See, that's what I don't like. You can't convince me that you 5%. You will have an easier job convincing me that you Jesus Christ that just came back than convincing me that you're 5%. You see, once you gotta convince me, you're not a 5%. See, when things is right and exact, you don't have to explain. So in general, like I always say, it be situations that, bring a topic to my mind, right? But at the same time, see, like I said yesterday, sit around, talk about 1,000 problems. You know what I mean? Sitting around talk about 1,000 problems, but that's what I'm saying. Sitting around talk about 1,000 nothing. Because I've already seen the example, right, that Allah provided, right, of having an idea. You know what I'm saying? And not even an idea that everybody was with, right? But from having an idea, right, to making that idea material. See, there was a lot of things, yeah, it was the knowledge, but Allah had a lot of things, man. How many people know you could get in the Apollo at one time? If you was a 5%, you get in the Apollo without paying. You know, is that going to save the world? But no, it's like I said, the various experiences now that people is having. You know what I'm saying? You in the community now. Because depending on where you're from, you might experience that. Like in New York, yeah, we in New York, but there's things that's going on, right? That that's not for us. But now, just showing all of that, see, we got to turn this potential into kinetic. See, when you see somebody, yeah, they talk good, they smart and all that, but you still ain't make that kinetic. So you ain't turn that 7.5 ounce of grain into 7.5 ounce of action. And 7.5 ounce of results. You know what I'm saying? Either that or you want to ignore the Allah made that happen with the Apollo. That's what I'm saying. Was a lot of things that, there's some things that's very popular. Like the trips to Bear Mountain, Harlem Prep. But there was a lot of things. God told me it was a store on the corner, and you go in there and get a sandwich, put on a large bill. And see, all of this, it created the magnetic, I'm saying. See, you created the magnetic. See, you can't go out there. That's what motherfuckers be doing. I watch a lot of people do that and see like, yo, bro. See, I mean, yeah, we got to grow up and mature. But see, bro, you've gotten too old, man, to where you forgot how this go. Like, nigga, if you ain't coming to tell us nothing good, don't come and tell us nothing bad. If you don't never look out, you don't never drop no knowledge on us or nothing, nigga, don't come over here talking about what we doing wrong. See, if you ain't putting no time in and adding on, right, then what we supposed to be responsible to for you? Where was the much that was given for much to be required? You come over here by this park telling some shit, we'll fuck you up. And then you be over here talking about, yeah, these kids, these motherfucking kids. Nigga, we don't know you. But if you talking about somebody that always dealing equality with us, look, at the very least, right? At the very least, I'm not gonna do this in front of him. Like, nah, let's do it. Let's don't do that. Don't let him see us doing this. See, now we have respect. See what I'm saying? See, people expect. See, look, we'll tell you the knowledge born degree. We tell you the knowledge born degree. See, Shaka knew, you just fucked me up. I was saying with it because I was trying to avoid the topic. I was trying to avoid the aspect of this topic. You see? See, a lot of bullshit. See, look, I'm just asking you. I'm asking you. If I'm off base, Shaka Noodle, let me know. Right? But if somebody's giving you money, right? If somebody's giving you money to do something that you're ashamed of, got the bar and Jack King in here, right? If somebody's giving you money, right, to do something that you're ashamed of, right? And look, and you don't want people to know about the things that you did that you're ashamed of, or that they gave you money. See, I'm asking you because you from Figueroa. You rest in Vegas, so see, over here, you need to have on a blonde wig and heels and be over there in Hunts Point. And maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shaggy. People is paying you money to do something you embarrassed. You embarrassed about. You embarrassed of what you did, right? And you embarrassed. You don't want people to know they gave you that money. What you call that? Okay, I get that point. What you say? You're not ashamed. Look, you're not ashamed at the point when you take that money, right? But what happened when the lights come on? How about that? How about when the lights come on and everybody knows that that's the case? See, because that's what a lot of this stuff that we see is bullshit. And look, and I'm talking about in all worlds. I'm talking about all different, subject matters or whatever that you see on YouTube. That's what it comes down to. Is that there's a certain set of principles right here, but money trump all that. See, it's a matter of the priorities is what I'm saying. Not that, look, everybody doing social media, whatever, you making money. But is that the priority? See, look, y'all being nice. You said either run and hide or face the consequences. Beating yourself with many stripes. Also, it demonstrates a lack of integrity. Look, that's whole shit. Let's start right there. Pardon my French. But that's whole shit. We can dress it up all kinds of ways. You see, you can allow yourself to be bought and sold in a whole lot of ways. See, that's what we gotta ask ourselves. Like, look, when you see people manifesting what they manifesting, say, see, when you look at the thumbnail and you see all that, listen. Shocking dude said, yeah, I was being nice. I don't know why you in such a good mood. You must have got some overtime or something, Shocking dude. But look, I'm gonna tell you the straight up scenario. Right? When you look at the thumbnail, where I'm telling you that you go on the internet and you go into places. See, look here. In this social media shit, right? There's a fine line between making content and being content. And see, when you do it like how I do it, like it'd be different if you had some pictures you was drawing and you was just demonstrating them on the what's in it. But see, once you talking and the people see you and everything, right? Then your personality and your presentation is a part of whatever people viewing, regardless of what you saying. What happens is now you cross the line from making content into being content. And see, once you being content, right, and motherfuckers is paying you to be content, right? There, see the difference, right, is Yeah, I'm being content, but I'm still controlling the narrative. But see, when you start going on these other platforms, right, where money is the main thing. See, all other values, right, can take a back seat to the money. So now we see why you up there looking like a fool. Because see, we know, right, that the best kind of content is foolish shit. The best kind of content is controversial shit. So when I say, look, why don't you come to one of the channels where it's about the knowledge, right? So I suggest, I say, look, why don't you come on my channel? Like you go on all these other channels and talk about how we brothers. You go all around, you've been all around California, Georgia, every year, Darkim be Allah is my brother. Right? So I say, look, why you don't come a new cage? We getting back to that. They got some new graffiti that they just did. I just didn't get a chance to get to it yet. But we're gonna start right there. You know what I'm saying? And look, I got some other ideas. Right? So I tell them, right, I say, look, why don't you come on my channel? Right? Why don't you go on the Law School and Mega channel? Why don't you go on Sunya's channel? You know what he tells me? He tells me, I don't know about those channels. He said, I don't know about those channels. You know, the only reason I know about Sean Big is this, like, God. You was spending days on end. You was coming to the school specifically to meet Infinite. And now you gonna say you don't know about his channel. I know you're not gonna say you don't know about my channel when you're going on Sean Bigger channel and responding to what I say on my channel. See, now you over there. See, first you build with Darkim be Allah, and then it's, oh, Darkim be Christ or whoever, right? So you going over there responding to what I'm saying on my channel, but you don't know about it. But see, I listen carefully. So now after you kept talking, what you tell me is Ice-T and Tretch, and shout out to Ice-T and Tretch, right? This is not but this is our business. So it's just a matter of what do Ice-T and Tretch, when we talking about, you know, manifesting this truth, Ice-T and Tretch, yeah, Ice-T and Tretch told me to make sure I get paid when I go on the internet because they making money. So there you have it. There you have it. See, like I said, you know, you gotta weigh and judge everything. It ain't just because somebody's making money. Right? You gotta weigh and judge everything. But what I'm telling you is that, see, look, a lot of we talking about that demographic, right? The rap gods, right? These rappers who've been portraying themselves as God, some of them for decades, right? You gotta understand that one of the reasons that they were so strong on it then is because they was making money. When that opportunity existed, right? When that opportunity existed, they was all about being 5%. You see what I'm saying? But you can see from Lorenzo. See, something else is the money now. See, flat earth, no gravity, that's the money now. And see, that's what I'm telling you. That's whole shit. No Ice-T ain't gonna be on channels like that. He's never gonna let himself look as ridiculous. He's never gonna go on no place making himself look ridiculous. See, he's got other things that he's manifested. Why would he come on here and look as ridiculous as this dude make himself look? He got TV shows. Divine understanding. You say you don't think flat earth is the money now? Yeah, it's the money. Well, you know what? You're right. The new money now is you back with the rich slave maker of the poor. You went back to Vlad. You know something? You're right. Thank you for that, One Is Love. Thank you for correcting me right there. Thank you. See, look, that's all I be asking y'all to do. Stop me. Stop me before I go too far with some crazy shit. That's good looking right there, One Is Love. See, that's the type of people I like. See, that's exactly what I'm saying about this dude. You go in here and let people make you a fool. Right? And they give you a couple dollars. See? Look, Lorenzo, you go over there making Vlad make you look like a fool. You see, none of these people, look, shout out, did anybody see the Iron Sheik? The Iron Sheik did an interview. Yeah, the bar, yeah, that's his money. Look, Fat Joe, right, is trying to be the Charleston White. He's trying to be like, see, on the West Coast, they got Whack and Honey. Right? On the West Coast, they got Whack and Honey. Down south, they got Charleston White. Fat Joe wants to be that here. But look, when you said this right here, right, when Fat Joe saying that he's crack him God of law, listen, it's funny because that's what Iron Sheik addressed that in a video. I think it's on Panda Chop. You know what I'm saying? He spoke on that, and he spoke on his journey to getting the knowledge. And he dropped some shit where it was like, damn, G, I never looked at the world like that. Like, I never looked at the world like that. I was right there, never looked at the world like that. Where he was talking, and he was saying how he kept coming in tune with the guys, right? Paradise is yet there. I mean, it's up. Some of the what's your names, you know what I'm saying? But he was talking about how he was coming in tune with the guys, but he wasn't getting the knowledge yet for various reasons. You know what I'm saying? But he was always being around the guys, right? And he was saying how he was around the guys in school and everything, and then he was like, the teachers loved the 5%. It was the administration that hated them. Like, the administration saw them as a threat, but the teachers used to love them. And I never realized that. And I look back, it was like, yeah, that's true. The teachers used to, I never noticed that. I never noticed it. And then he gave some reasons, you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking about, it was like, his reasons was official. I'm just saying that one thing I would add on to what he said is that I think part of it too was that the teachers, like, they teachers, right? So you in the classroom, right? And you trying to get this kid to learn these, whatever little simple things, right? And then you pass him by in the hallway and he's quoting the culture degree. You know what I'm saying? He's going through the actual fact. And the teacher's gotta be looking at that like, yo, how the fuck do y'all do that? How are y'all able to teach each other like that? You know what I'm saying? And then they looking at the crowd, they see who's who. They know that it's certain people that is teachers. You know what I'm saying? And so it made me look at the thing totally different. You know what I'm saying? When I always said that look, in school, the teachers used to call me Darkim. You know what I'm saying? And I always looked at it as, just like, I guess the force of my personality or whatever caused him to do that. But when he put it like that, it was like, yeah, something, I think about it. Yeah, the teachers just like this. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of things where it's like, we come into class already knowing some things. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine you come to junior high school, right? You get into high school and you already know the power degree. You already know the power degree in the 114. So see, when y'all get to the Crusades, the teacher's gonna be like, God damn. You start talking about Saladin and Richard, this is what they trying to get us to learn, and they can't figure out how, you know what I'm saying? It had to be bugged out to them how, like, yo, 2 months ago, this guy was now look, we don't understand why y'all won't come to class no more once y'all start doing that. But they have to look at some of those resurrections, the way some people resurrected, you know what I'm saying, from being just there and not really, excelling at academics to them coming in and showing supreme knowledge. He said, the Lord did say he sent us to school to learn, not teach. Now, look, that was another thing that he touched on in there. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go into that level of details, you know what I'm saying? But, when we get the knowledge, right, we not church boys. You see what I'm saying? And so it's hard for some people to go cold turkey. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for some people to go cold turkey from negativity that you've been doing, the whole time before you got the knowledge. So like, he was saying how, a lot of people would warn him against becoming the 5%, you know what I'm saying? Because of, some of the, some of the rumors and the image that, some of the brothers was having, you know what I'm saying? And, as time is going on, the lessons, the supreme mathematics and all of that is staying strong, but Allah's teachings, right, about that kind of stuff, right, is it's not out there on that level with the 14, 15, 16-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? At that time, we call it in school the devil's education. You know what I'm saying? We're being enlightened, right? We're being enlightened on a level of 7, and that's the devil's education of 6. You know what I'm saying? And just a lot of things was like rebellious. You know what I'm saying? We was rebellious against colored people, right? Because of what we saw as the works of the devil. Those was the people that we saw being in control of hell. You know what I'm saying? And so, even like, with drugs and all of that, and a lot of the crime that was going on, a lot of, don't get me wrong, our minds was warped, right? But to a certain degree, it's being looked at like, yo, you know what I'm saying? We doing this so we don't have to work for the white man. We don't have to, like for instance, like when it was the pandemic, you know what I'm saying? And people was being forced to take the vaccine and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that that's a good excuse, but just saying that that's the way we was thinking, right? Is that, going around them we're gonna be forced into those types of situations. You know what I'm saying? Whereas we out here living, we living like the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's true. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to go to school to learn and not teach. But look, I got a technicality for you here. You know what I'm saying? Where, look, you just took a dump on this side of the scale. Let me put something back over here. Look, I learned the knowledge of self in school. How about that one? Let's start right there. Hold on, I'll be right back and take my chicken out. Yeah, so just saying, Jewel TV, technically, I listened. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, look, take us a journey. You know what I'm saying? For me, it definitely was, you know what I'm saying, to, there's lots of things. And then even there's some things that it's like the window of time, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'm coming out the dead world, you know what I mean? So, uh, you know, in terms of, civil rights is really what I know about the original man. I don't know the black man is God and all that yet. You know what I'm saying? But, if you coming out of that time, like during and after, right after the Panthers, it's like, things like we not pro-black and anti-white. Somebody told me that. And I was like, nah, he couldn't have possibly said that. Like I told the person that told me that nah, there's no way. Like, how could that don't even make sense? I couldn't see it. You see what I'm saying? It took me time, and now when I really start breaking down these lessons, right? And I start to understand what it means, where it says that's Yakub's grafted devil. See, I start to understand what it means when it said the colored man or the Caucasian man is the devil. Right? Any man which is made weak and wicked is the devil. See, once I start understanding that, now I can embrace this idea, right, of not being pro-black or anti-white. You know what I'm saying? But it's a growth period. See, when you get the knowledge the first day, that's the fly thing here, right? You get the knowledge the first day, look, you get all the gold, bro. You ain't got to carry no water. Day one, you got it. But see, now it's incumbent on you, right? You got to cover that distance. It's incumbent on you, you know what I'm saying, to you know what I'm saying? You know, you the Asiatic black man, right? We told you you got the universe. Now it's up to you. You got to go back, right? And be the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, and the father of civilization, right? See, you could be the father of what? You know what I'm saying? So some of us have, you know, look, we got miles to go in certain realms, you know what I'm saying, to get to our righteousness, you know what I'm saying? You know, some of us we've been infected with poison in our mind. You see what I'm saying? And we got to get that poison out before we can, think healthy. When I first got the knowledge, I heard stories of guys literally taking 4 devil's heads. Look, there's the biggest story is people taking things on face value. You know what I'm saying? The biggest story is people misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the only thing that happened. You know what I'm saying? You know, for the record, look, let me ask you this. Did they tell you when it happened? I mean, of course, there could be, but the main story of that, do you know when that happened? But yeah, the Iron Sheik interview, I thought it was good. You know what I'm saying? It was like 1 or 2 places, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, he was speaking, from a perspective of, this is how I got the knowledge. Like, this is what he's observing from his perspective, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, the thing he said about the teachers, I never saw that from the outside. You know what I'm saying? I only saw it from the inside, so I didn't never look at it like that. Watching and standing, so that was in our lessons in the 80s. What was in our lessons? You know what I'm saying? The now there was one thing, and look, shout out to Sean Bigger TV. I gotta watch. Sean Bigger has a video called From Decepticon to Nation of Gods and Earths. I gotta check it out. I gotta check it out because look, I've been wondering, you know, you know, Sean Bigger, like, like, no, I don't know. The 4 devils. I mean, well, it's still in the lessons. Nah, this is not. No, now that might be something else. I think I do know what you're talking about, Julie TV, but he's talking about particularly in New York. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong right there. You know what I'm saying? But Sean Bigger, yeah, he got a video where it says from Decepticon to Nation of Gods and Earth. I was like, oh snap! So I'm gonna check that out. You know what I mean? And see what the science is. Because uh, the first time, I remember he was saying that he grew up. King Sen had said something, and he said, "Yeah, I grew up doing nonsense." I was like, yeah, I ain't recognize him or whatever. So, I'm gonna check that out. But Sean Bigger was in the comments. That's the point I brought that up. Sean Bigger was in the comments of the Iron Sheik video, right? And this is why I look. This is why after seeing this, I kind of fucks with Sean Bigger. Like, I don't, I don't know, I never meet him, but look, this was one. You know, there was 2 things. He said, "Born Allah, Allah be was the that he started the 5% in the Bronx. This is false. It's a common, it's something that's commonly out there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's trying to do nothing malicious or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But the first person that I heard came in the Bronx and talked with Shaheed. Now, Allah B played an extremely pivotal. He was extremely pivotal, you know what I'm saying, and instrumental, you know what I'm saying, you know, in the developments, you know what I'm saying, of the history in the P, right? You know what I'm saying? He played a very important part in the history of the P, but he didn't bring the knowledge up there. You know what I'm saying? But look, it's like I say, he did his thing. It's just saying that, look, what he said, right? Literally, it was. I'm nitpicking right now. You know what I'm saying? Just to say, you know what I'm saying? Now, look, the other thing, right? He had the Jesus piece on, G. He had the Jesus piece on. So look, Sean Bigger, I see Sean Bigger in the comments. He's like, please explain the Jesus piece. So look, so see, I know that Sean Bigger know that this supposed to go a certain way. Sean Bigger knows that, listen, everybody, including the 5%, has standards. See, he knows that, look, you can say all this, but I see, look, actions. See, a picture is worth 1,000 words because a picture shows some action. Picture could be staged, but, right there, unless that was AI, so the guy didn't give specific dates or a year, but he sounded convincing. But I get what you're saying about taking things on face value. Nah, it's not what you did that take things on face value. But see, at least, like I said, there could have been other events, right? But one of the major events, right, where that happened was 1984. Isn't the Bronx named after Abu Shaheed? Now, I don't know about that. Before I knew about Shaheed and who he was, it was just said that somebody named John, that John had brought the knowledge to Pelon. You know what I'm saying? And then as time goes on, I learned that he was John 37X. I don't know about the so you said who Sean Biggers said he was 5% at one point? But yeah, but I mean, look, when he asked that question, when he said explain the Jesus piece, it's like, look, he understands that, you gotta live this out. And anything you gotta live out, you know what I'm saying, there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it and a way you don't do it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shout out to Sean Bigger. But he was in the comment section and yeah, Iron Sheik had the Jesus piece on. So, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, you know, how he draw that up, because, you know, this is in the comments after. It's not like a live stream where you can respond to it. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, other than that, he addressed the situation with Fat Joe. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I thought he did that. In a wise and civilized fashion. You know what I'm saying? Although he said that he went and spoke to Rakim and told him, you know what I'm saying, to see if he, because he was like, you know, these people are stars, like a lot of times you ain't gonna run into them. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, he went to Rakim because he knew that, yo, he had a better opportunity to see him. But at the same time, it's like, what's Rakim gonna say? Like, do he have, see what I'm saying? Because see, what I liked about the interview, well, I didn't look at the whole, I looked at the parts, there's the excerpts where he took the 5%. And you know, between, you know, him talking about how he got the knowledge and him talking about the thing with Fat Joe, I like that he got Allah's teachings across. See, don't get me wrong. Y'all know I love Elijah, but see, when you go up there and you only talk about the lessons, so you don't talk about none of this mindset and this understanding that Allah gave us, man, which is why we draw these things up the way how we draw them up. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, this is about education. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we not just, you know, when you hearing old dirty bastard say teach the baby here, he's getting that from this. You know what I'm saying? But it's about, you know, teaching them to be the best they could be and realize the fullest of their potential. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times when the motherfucker get on there, and yeah, you know, I was locked up with the God bodies and the, you know, we was on the block and the God bodies and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? And you miss those things, right? Drew the TV like that you brought up, right? That Allah sent us to school to learn. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, when you say, you know, you supposed to take it beyond 120, right? That don't mean, you know, you start going and becoming Buddhist and Hindu and all that. It means you're supposed to take this knowledge, go to college. Go, you know, this time and energy that you're spending, right? Think if you spent that in school, you know what I mean? Or, you know, learn a trade. See, a lot of times we see that physically, where it's like, you know how I be that dude, right? That for whatever reason, he's always out. Like when you see him, he come to the block, yeah, what's up? Like he cool and everything. It's like ain't nothing funny, but he just always like, yeah, I got something to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, we hanging out. He like, yo, bro, I'm about to be out. I gotta go. And then one day you see this motherfucker driving the Benz and shit. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he ain't doing nothing in the street. He done went and you know, got whatever gig that he got, because the time that we were spending standing right here, right? He was spending that time, he was spending that time building on something. And now that that's born, see, he's going to knowledge at a cipher and knowledge, right? And then these niggas on the corner, what they doing? They going in circles. Knowledge to born and then back to knowledge. You see what I'm saying? That these is Allah's teachings, right? You know what I'm saying? That look, you know, especially at that time in the 60s, right? They're changing over. You know, the 60s, the early 70s, they're changing over because of civil rights. They're changing over because of civil rights. You understand what I mean? And so, you know, they putting all this stuff out there. You know what I mean? You hear about it. You know, the mentality with the black exploitation and the various drugs and the, you know, all these different things that they putting out there, right, to cause us to occupy our time with something that's not going to add up to nothing for us. You know what I mean? So that was why, that was my favorite part. That was my favorite part of the interview. You know what I'm saying? Of the what's the name that he gave. But like just in general, like I said, besides that one thing which, like I said, is a lot of people think that's not, he's not, out there like, oh, he's lacking or something. Like, nah, people that had knowledge a long time, that's the wisdom that they received on that topic. You know what I'm saying? And then, the Jesus piece. But I would check it out. Especially in light of, a lot of the other people that we see on there talking. To me, that was refreshing. You know what I'm saying? To finally look, to see something on there, you got to react to this, man. So that's how it was when I went to the Navy and was going through the apprenticeship. What you say, like, you like the wind on niggas, right? Like, yeah, I see y'all later, man. Like, I see y'all later, man. Look, I was like that with the lessons. But that same thing, it has to be, like that's a certain principle, you know what I'm saying, a characteristic. This is when, when you talk about your lesson, right? I'm not telling you how to change the lessons now, let's be clear. Right? But I'm saying when you talk about your lesson, right? And they say, okay, why was Darkim so successful in all his overtakings? You see how I did that? You see how I finessed that, right? But this is what I'm saying. So now when I look back and I see those principles that I employed, right, to be successful at the things that I was successful at, right? Now I gotta take that to the other cycles. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? I like that, right? The way we flowed into, you know what I'm saying, something positive. Let's not go back. You know what I'm saying? But so what we do, we're gonna take a chance. we're gonna take a chance here and open up the floor to questions. We're gonna take a chance. I don't know if we got any questions. Because I mean, this was pretty simple. It was pretty straightforward. You know what I'm saying? That look, we at an age. Well, I'm at an age, right? Everybody's not my age, but see, I'm at an age where look, I don't judge you on your words no more. If you just don't know no lessons, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's like in terms of like, let's say all your lessons, right? Necessarily that you think, that I'm gonna think you true and living because of that. You said, what about that book? Which book? The interview with the Iron Sheik, I think, is on Panda Chop. Fine, what's the deal? Which book you talking about? West Coast. Why's Bezos? See, that's what happened. When I come on late. When I come on late, then I get the West Coast brothers. You know what I mean? We get the brothers on that side of the Mississippi. But which book you talking about? The book with Fard? What was the 300-page book? Which book are you talking about? Listen, Abu Shahid, man. I mean, look, he never, I never really was, you know what I'm saying, around him like that. So I think we should stop reacting to interviews and the people who are clearly not for us, representing us in a negative light. You know something? I agree with you, one is love, right? And you know, uh, you know, sometimes you end up giving things more life. You know what I'm saying? Just by sometimes just who's talking about it, right? Like, some little kids over there, some background sideline people can say what they want to say, right? But then if, the president of the United States says it, you understand what I'm saying? Then it's, so a lot of times we do, you right about that, but I do think, right? Tell me if you agree with me, that the internet just adds another dynamic. You see what I'm saying? Because see, if something happens over there and we don't say nothing, and it's only those people that was over there that know about it, right? It's going to be limited. But see, on the internet, things travel on the algorithm. You see what I'm saying? Whereas things travel from mouth to ear out here, things travel on the algorithm. And so the way I see it, right, a statement has to be made. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't necessarily have to address that person, right? Like, you don't have to go and be like, yo, fat, yo, I wanted this, right? But you can come out and say, listen, man, nothing like that ever would have happened. Ever. You see what I'm saying? Because, like Iron Sheik was saying, bro, that goes against all of our teachings. That goes against all of our teachings. That goes against, you know what I'm saying, everything that Allah stood for. You know, people. So, in those instances, like, see, like he said that, okay, now, here's the thing. Both of those things is on the algorithm now. So, yeah, now you can let it go. You ain't got to, pursue it, you know what I'm saying, and none of that. But you got to put the truth on the algorithm. And then you can leave it alone. So, yeah, with the book, now look, what I was doing, I've been moving around and not, what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to find one of these AI apps, right? That can read the book, right? Like it's speaking the book, and then I could pause it, and then we can react in real time. You know what I'm saying? Like we could go through a couple pages or whatever, and then we can say, well, this coincides with what we've been taught about far. You know what I'm saying? Or it differs from what we've been taught. You know what I'm saying? Or some people You know what I'm saying? You know, with those things, because look, I've been looking at a number of videos. It's funny you bring that up. Because like for the last 2 or 3 days, I've been watching videos from various people who have been writing new books. You know what I'm saying? I can't even remember these people. One dude's name was Bilal Muhammad, I think. There was another dude, I think his name was Anderson, like Dr. something something Anderson. You know what I'm saying? I was watching them, a couple other people. Statements have to be made in actions, not just in words. If they're made in words, you'll see a flat earth brother at the Father's degree day. That's a little more complex than the way you put it right there. Like I understand what you're saying, but just the way that occurred is a little more what's your name? But see, here's the thing, right? When that first happened, when he first kind of started becoming popular, you know, with the flat earth stuff, there was people saying like, yo, what the fuck is up with the gods? Like, I know the gods, like, is the gods jacking us? And literally, look, what was it? Somebody said something. It wasn't me, but it was a channel I was looking at, and this was like an 85, you know what I'm saying? But he from New York, so he knows the guys, he knows how things is and everything, right? So he was like, yo, the guys just you know what I'm saying, like they ain't it, you know, they not wilding or nothing, but they just let this nigga know you not with us, bro, talking that bullshit. You see what I'm saying? That's the way I'm talking about. If you don't say nothing, then he's going out there. That's how he's portraying it. Said if actions speak louder than words, why not let our actions speak for the nation? Just like you said, once you're trying to convince me who you are approaching the rabbit hole. Look, you writing exact, but I still have to let people know what my actions is. You see what I'm saying? Like if he comes out and he's talking all that about that, like listen, brother, brother. You know, we just got finished giving out 200 book bags and school supplies to kids so that they can, you know, have less to worry about when they hit school, man. So look, they can go there and learn. See, we have to say that no, we're about academics, and he's coming on here portraying it like everything you learn in school is trick knowledge. Right, self-I bill. You're right. Mark Lamont Hill, he was one of the people. He wasn't the only one. I saw that too, though. I saw that. Look, there was some people, they was on Mark Lamont Hill show, and the people was like, yo, what the fuck is up with that 5% shit? Like, and then Mark Lamont Hill was like, no. See, this is the lessons that the 5% had. And he started reading the first page in the 1 to 40. But he was like, no. See this right here? Where this says the circumference of the planet Earth is 24,896 miles, approximately 25,000 miles. See, the area in square miles of the planet Earth is 196,940,000 square miles. See, the guys is saying that this is round. This is this is round Earth. This is not the teachers of the guys. He said the actor that denounced the flat Earth theory. Which actor? Because it was a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he, like I said earlier in the what's the name? That's the new money. So just as adamant as he was, right, about kicking out knowledge and wisdom so he can make money at that time, he's going to be just as adamant about being on Vlad TV now. You know, and I mean that's not just a 5% thing. That's with anything. Where yeah, people want to be something. People want to be something when it's advantageous. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, let me tell you something. This is just a perspective, man. I'm telling you, if you was in New York City, people that was rhyming at that time was getting the knowledge just so they could rhyme. Like, see, for people like Lord Jamar, he's not the beginning of it. You gotta remember, in New York City, right? Everybody's looking at Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, right? Now you got other people out there, but people don't, you know, they kicking knowledge, so people don't know if they 5%ers or not. Like Karis One, you know, people don't. Is his name Knowledge? Is his name Supreme? A lot of people don't know. Like all of the people that was at the top of the game, you know, if they wasn't this, they was manifesting our knowledge. So you think it was a stretch for brothers like Lord Jamar to say they wanted to put this in their records? You didn't go out on no limb. You kicked what was popping in the city at that time. See, a lot of people was acting like, you know, he's this pioneer of all this stuff. No, you're not. Yeah, world famous Supreme Team, but you know, even that's a little bit older. I'm talking about immediately at that time. When Brand Nubian came out, 1990? Like at that time, the top people on the radio were saying our knowledge. The top people everywhere outside in the street, no matter what world, whether it was good or bad, was us. There was no disadvantage whatsoever, right? There's no, you didn't carry no water, nothing. There was no disadvantage, right? To you saying you had this knowledge. So what about Jay-Z? What about Jay-Z? Yeah, Just Ice. It was, you know, look, everybody was saying peace at the end of their records. Brand Nubian, not Brand Nubian, EPMD. You know what I'm saying? Was talking about universal beatdown and all this. Shit, or LL Cool J newest album, he got a song with him rapping like a 5%. Somebody told me the other day he said he was 5% for about 35 hours. He said he's 5% for about 35 hours. But remember, he was real big. He was real big on the b-boy stance. You know, he was super big on the b-boy stance. You know what I'm saying? And that's where that came from. Do you see Jay-Z doing it for the clout? Of course. So you gotta remember, you know, you got two sides here, right? When it comes to the marketing, right? You know, you got the whole popular culture, the pop culture, you know, worldwide thing. But see, you also have the street cred. See, you know, you still gotta see, because look, I was talking about this earlier today. To me, one thing I saw that put Jay-Z into the stratosphere is when those throwback jerseys came out. You know what I'm saying? And Jay-Z sold so many of those jerseys that, you know, corporate America was like, yeah, you a good person for that. You a good person. You a good cat's paw, right? You a good cat's paw for us to deal with the black community. You know what I'm saying? Whether we need to, you know, appease them, you know what I'm saying, in situations like the Brooklyn Nets thing, you know what I'm saying, or the NFL thing, you know what I'm saying, or whether we need you to, uh, you know, sell something to them, you know what I'm saying, you know, this type of lifestyle and these luxury goods or whatever, uh, you know, you can fit the bill. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, you have to replenish those ties in order to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I mean, look. Here's the thing: he was either clout chasing or he was sincere. So look, if that's my choice, is like, is there another choice I'm missing? He was either clout chasing or he was sincere. You know, and I mean, he said, has anybody in New York been to Earth's Umi school? I see her school being a great add-on for the nation. Uh, I mean, there's a video of her school up uh on the Law School of Mega Channel. I mean, you know, my youngest daughter just started college, so you know, by the time she started doing that, you know, I wasn't in that age group and everything. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's up to her. Like I can't really yeah, Jay-Z was around the answers. The new casino, they supposedly shut him down. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I mean, that's up to her, right? You know, I mean, as far as what you're saying, when you're saying a great add-on for the nation, you know what I mean? And look, this is what I would say to her. You know, I don't even know her like that, right? But this is the advice, right, that I would give to her. See, because see what you're suggesting, right? And I'm not saying she's doing this for money, but I'm saying that this is simplify the example. What you're saying, what you're saying is that she should go from 100%, right, 100% ownership to going to the stock market and giving away 95% of the company. You see, once you make it a national thing, like you gonna put the flag on it now? This is what I'm saying. Like, so now is everybody gonna have a say? Is everybody gonna have a say in what she do and don't do in it? Right. Look, great add-on for the community. And see, that's another thing that is supposed to be happening that, you know, we get a little lost in the sauce on, right? Is that we supposed to be going out there, right? And you know, being pillars in the community out there. You know what I'm saying? You know, uh, the babies that need to be drawn up is out there. You know what I mean? So, you know, there's things that the gods do, right? And there's things that, you know, there's things that 5% do, and there's things that the 5% do, and there's things that a 5% do. You know what I mean? So as a 5%, she's out there affecting the community, right? And the people is gonna know, right? The people is gonna know, you know, who she is and the effect they had. So now, you know, maybe at some other point, right, they get exposed to this purified knowledge. And now the magnetic already exists, right? Because, you know, this person, they might run into somebody talking about degrees or something, and they be like, nah, I went to elementary school, I went to preschool, or, you know, whatever it is, right? Nah, I went to school, I learned this in school. But I didn't, you know, at the time I wasn't paying attention like that, you know what I'm saying? But now you might be with some people who could break it down the right way for you. So I don't know about putting a flag on it, but I'm saying her school being the place where we can send our children or grandchildren to if we stay in that area. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, I was out that I was out of that age group, you know, when she started that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna tell you something. I've over the time I haven't been that keen on schools like that. Like in terms of, you know, sending my kids to a particular school. You know what I mean? Because see, I don't want them teaching my kids nothing. You know, the ABCs, the one, two, threes, and all that. But see, once you start getting to them situations where you're doing some social teaching and all that, now I handle that. So there's parents that send their children to that school who are in different schools of thought, which is peace. I appreciate what she's doing, though much needed. I mean, I don't know that much about it. You know, I know it exists. You know what I'm saying? Like in particular, you know, with the syllabuses and all those types of things like that. Like, you know, for me personally, right? I'm not making no accusations. I'm just saying that, you know, before I recommend it and all of that, I would in particularly want to know, you know, what is the things that's being taught over there. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, my thing is I'm not sending you to school to learn all that other stuff. I'm sending you there, right? You're going there to excel. Uh, you're going there to show that you qualified to move in the society, right? On whatever level that you want, right? Like anybody can move, anybody can go to jail, right? Everybody who's born in America, you qualify to go to jail, right? But you know, everybody's not qualified to walk through certain doors in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody's not qualified for that. So that's what you going there to get a paper that say you qualified for that. But see, one only learns what one teaches self. You see what I'm saying? See, there's you know, and because you know, at the end of the day, you're gonna get some very, very basic stuff, you know, regardless when you go into school. You know what I'm saying? And you know, at the end of the day, uh, you know, there's still a purpose for all of that. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, even if you got a private school, right? Even if she got, there's still government standards, right? In order for that education to be meaningful, right? And for it to count, for it to be accredited, right? There's still some things that they have to comply with. You know what I'm saying? Saving Our Babies Incorporated is the name of the school. You know what I'm saying? But it's definitely the way to go. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the things that happens, right? Is that, see, like I said, right? In order for to set your kids up to where they can move through whatever level of society they want, and then you got to send them amongst the colored men. You see what I'm saying? And from the minute they get in there, they start being indoctrinated, right? Now, look, here's the thing that I missed, right? I realized that they was going to, the school, the administration was going to try to indoctrinate them. You know what I'm saying? And I should have seen it, you know what I mean, just through the fact that I got the knowledge of self in school, right? To see the kids is indoctrinating each other. The education that you get from your friends in school is more than what you get from the teachers. Like, whole things of culture, the music that you went to. Think about all the things, you know what I'm saying, that you got into, and you met these people at school. Save equality unknown, like it's all other stuff that's there that ain't got nothing to do with the academics that they being indoctrinated into. So that's why, in particular, when it comes to these, the private schools, right? You know what I'm saying? That was my consideration. The 9. You know what I'm saying? You go here, right, where, they're gonna tell you certain things, but I'm the one that tells you what it is. You see what I'm saying? So, like, certain things, uh, like, for instance, uh, my son would come home, like, say, like, during this time of the first part of the year, be a lot of, so my son, he'd come in the house, he'd be like, yeah, tomorrow, or, whatever's the day, he'd be like, yeah, I don't need to go to school that day, right? What are we talking about? And then he'd be like, yeah, on that day, they say that they're going to have a Thanksgiving party. And he don't even know what it is. You know what I'm saying? He don't even know what that is. You know what I'm saying? But he just know that, yeah, nah, we don't do that. Like, that's the thing with the turkey and all that. Like, yeah, nah. You know what I'm saying? And he knew that that's my rules. That you go over there, you got certain rules that, look, you're not over there to disrespect them, right? But they rules don't trump my rules. He said, did I homeschool? Not in homeschool. I'm telling you about my kids being in school. I homeschool in the sense that uh, my kids is 5%. You know what I'm saying? They didn't my oldest daughter, she's a little bit of a what do you call that? Like, she's in the far left in the politics, in the political realm. She's over there far left. But other than that, Uh, nobody believes, what I'm saying, God is in the sky or eats pig. You know what I'm saying? It's an aimless guidance of self through false ideals is one way to look at indoctrination. Yeah, but you get, a lot of these false ideals, what I'm saying, things that, just styles that you want to wear, or, what I'm saying, be a part of, or, music that you listen to, what I'm saying, uh, there's a amongst the kids, that indoctrination is stronger than the indoctrination from the school. But yeah, talking about the Fard book though too is what I wanted to do is get an app. I want to find an AI app that could read it off, and then we follow with the what's your name. But it's actually it's a couple of videos too. Where maybe we could maybe we, even though uh Farm Bank from Haiti just said maybe we shouldn't react, but we can react to some of the videos. I mean, it's not that much reaction to do. You know what I'm saying? People did their research. A lot of these videos that I've been seeing, uh, I mean, at this point, the stuff that I've been being presented with, right, hasn't really been nothing new. You know what I'm saying? It's uh, like they kind of just organize the information in a linear kind of way. You know what I'm saying? But like, the guy that was selling the tamales in Washington, yeah, I know about it. You know what I'm saying? The guy that was in San Quentin, yeah, I know about it. You know what I'm saying? There's various, you know, uh, they said something about him being in Mexico. I don't know if I ever heard that. You know what I'm saying? But, basically he just had kind of organized or they just kind of organized the information and, came up with they kind of conclusion of what the various events would be. You know what I'm saying, or the various details of the event. I got the book from, or the one that I was saying we're gonna break down. I got that from Encyclopedia Brown. You know what I'm saying? But they had some things where, like, look, have you ever heard that when they when he's arrested in Detroit, right? And they have and they showing him pointing in the books. They saying that the book was Deliverance, which is supposed to be one of the foundational, or it's one of the foundational writings of the Jehovah Witness. The name of the book, I got it right now, is because the book is actually on my phone. It's an ebook. So I would have to look it up to see the exact title. Right, the 136. Right, that's what I'm saying. I might what you just said is the reason that I might have heard that. Uh, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that that I heard that it came from Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Because even this is, uh, that's a little bit, uh, you know, when did that become common knowledge is a question, right? Because I'm saying that I can recall when it was being said that the 1 in 36 was the interrogation. Like when you see them, when when he's arrested, that the 1 in 36, the questions is coming from the police. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely, what I'm saying is that when I learned about it being a letter that was mailed from someplace, right? That was uh, in the 2000s, definitely. Uh, and uh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I necessarily heard that it came from Mexico. You know what I'm saying? But apparently, in one of these videos that I watched, right? Apparently, they contacted one of the people. They contacted one of the women, and they contacted the family of one of the wives, right? And apparently, they did a DNA test, and the son that they said he had with that woman is not really his son. So who knows about that part of it? You know what I'm saying? They was, they researched it, you know what I'm saying? They was just saying it. You know what I'm saying? They was just saying, they was, saying a lot of things, like that. But see, that's what I'm saying too. With this type of topic, I would have to tell people, look, if your stomach is weak, you ain't got a strong stomach or whatever, right? Don't pay attention to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like if you the type to, hear something about Fard or Elijah that you never heard before, right? And you're gonna get all upset, I would advise you not to look at it. See, for me, it makes no difference. You see what I'm saying? Because of the evidence, right, that I've seen, right, on my own for the last 40 years. Oh, he did say there was some new things in there, right? There was some new, uh, there was something new in it, right? He was talking about Yakub. One of the dudes was saying, because mind you, I don't think this is coming from, these people don't necessarily, they don't bear witness to Elijah's teachings on Fard, right? And so they were saying that they may have an idea, right, about Yakub. And he was saying that there was a doctor in San Quentin, right? And the doctor is documented, he's documented to have been castrating people. That he was castrating people during the time, if that's Fard that's there, right? During that time that Fard was supposed to be there, that this dude was castrating people and that he was putting their testicles into colored people. You know what I'm saying? Like people who, whether they was old or whatever it was, right? That they testosterone was low, right? He was castrating original people, and he had some patients like off. patients in his private practice or whatever, the way they were describing it. And if they had some type of problems where he thought they needed testosterone, he was using the black prisoners' testicles. So these people that I was looking at the video, they were surmising that guy could have been the inspiration for Yakub. According, but this is what I'm saying. Like, if you got a weak stomach, right? You know what I'm saying? If your mind is, all of this is going to throw you, then let's not, let's not, let's not do it. But the brother, he kept asking me about a book collection. I mean, I keep it 100 with you. I don't really collect books. Not that there's wrong with it, but I'm just saying, like, you said in the Bible there's a story of Yakub. Right? That's some kind of birth control. Look, and according to these people, you know what I'm saying? I didn't, they, of course, there's much more research that you got to pay attention to. But according to those people, right, far, like, he had a couple of wives or whatever, or women that he was associated with, but that after this person came out of San Quentin, that they never got involved with no women again. And there was something else. Look, this is what I'm saying. It was, they said that Ford came here in 1909. You know what I'm saying? Which is, that's a year off from what we talked about when he got here. But one thing he did say where, you could at least say that they was being fair, right? So you said Genesis chapter 30, verse 31 through 43. See, I can't look that up right now. Can somebody look that up for me? What are these chapters and verses here? But one thing, is like they were saying a lot of things that you might be like, what I'm saying? Like I said, if you were, emotional about it, what I'm saying, you might take the wrong way. But one thing he was clear about, he was like, yo, I don't think that this was no scam. You know what I'm saying? The one dude, Bilal, Bilal, Muhammad, when they was asking him, like, yo, what you think this is? Like, he was just scamming the people. And he was like, yeah, but if he was scamming people, why he would have picked the poorest black people in Detroit? You know what I'm saying? And why when he bounced, like, he set up the schools and stuff and everything, and he left it with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, why when he bounced, he didn't get him an address and say, yo, look, mail the dudes over here. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, he think it's much more of a political thing, you know what I'm saying, where the dude might have been from a certain part of India or whatever, where, during that time, that's going to be during the time of the British Raj. You know what I'm saying? When the English is over there fucking shit up. So they were saying that all of that, might have been the types of ideas was in his mind, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't just fooling people, for the purpose of scamming. You're right. So see, a lot of stuff I don't keep. Like once I read it, right? It's I mean, I'm not that type of person. Like I know people like that, right? That you go to their house and they be talking to you, and in the midst of them talking to you, they go over there and get a book. See, I'm not going to do that. Once I read it, right? I either understand it or I don't. You know what I'm saying? And see, I'm a slow reader. Like it's not that I can't read fast, but just that, I comprehend I comprehend phrase by phrase. You know what I'm saying? If I get to something I don't understand, I might go back a whole page so that I can build back up to this point, you know what I'm saying, where I can understand this. You understand what I mean? And so uh, in my mind, you know what I'm saying, when I've read it, I've taken the best parts. You know what I'm saying? And so now let somebody else read it. Give it to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You know, uh, yeah, I've been out here learning, man. Yeah, audio books. Like I'm into a little bit of audio books. You know what I'm saying? I do the knowledge, and that might be a better format for me. But hold on though, self I built. That's the stuff that I've been saying is not from the book. That's from a video on YouTube. You said Gideon's version of the Bible, which is King James. Yeah, but what's in those? What is in those verses in Genesis though? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't. Book collection. Collecting all his papers, man. Now that you say that, maybe I should start one. Yeah, Bilal Muhammad is yeah, I think that's him. It's Bilal Muhammad. I saw a video with Bilal Muhammad and this Dr. John Andrew Morrow. Well, in the video, they both had things that they wrote, I think, separately. You know what I'm saying? But it looked like they came to all the same conclusions. You know what I'm saying? And they was on this video together. You know what I'm saying? Presenting the idea of who they think, who they think, uh, who they think Fard is. Trying to get the link. Hold up. Hopefully this got it. Looks like we're in the minimize this. So see how I said I know the video. Yeah, I got your bill. I asked Melchizedek some controversial stuff not too long ago. You know, oh man. Hold on, let me see if I can get. All right, that appears. That appears to be the. I think yeah, find your fart, and it's 3 people on there. Right, blogging theory. That's the channel. You wonder if Melchizedek know what? Yeah, but once you watch this video, right? Once you watch this video, uh, self-out bill, right? Your algorithm is going to come up with a whole bunch of other videos. So this is, this actually came back. You know what I mean? Because I saw there's another dude, he lives way out in like the Pacific Northwest somewhere, right? And he did a video where, what I'm saying, he was he was speaking on where his research came up to, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, when look when you watch that video, like I said, if you were, emotional or religious about these people, you know what I'm saying, then that might get you extra hype. Is the what's the name never went in there? The the link never showed up? Oh, it didn't. Oh, so this is the story. This is when Yakub is over there with Laban. Is that the oh, let me make sure. Oh, I see what happened. But is this the part? Is this the story where Yakub is with Laban? Okay, yeah. All right, so I know what you're talking about. Uh, that's a bugged out part of the story. That's a bugged out part of the story, right? I'm telling you, the bugged out part to me, man, is that the part where he marries the four sisters. Yo, bro, I know that's not the point, man. I know that that's not the point of the story, but say, come on, man. What's going on with these people's minds? What's going on, like the people who put this together, right? Like, I'm sure there's some parts, right? You got the Bible, you talk about thousands of years of time that's supposed to be included in the Bible, right? Even according to the biblical people, we talk about 4,000 years of time that passed from Adam to Jesus. So I know there's some things that was left out. You you didn't get all 4,000 years into those 66 chapters. I'm just wondering, and then look, you gotta think. See, look, I'm noticing that. You know what I'm saying? None of the first people, like, they ain't noticed that. It was two sisters and two servants of the sisters. I had to look at it again. I recall it being four sisters. But yeah, they did a little what's the name on it. They did, they research as they research. You said, can I build on karma? Well, uh, see, you mean like people coming back as another being? See, there's the because that's a part of karma, right? Is that people, you know, that you could sin, right? And then in the next life you're gonna be a roach. Or you just talking about the concept of justice. You know what I'm saying? The because you gotta remember karma is talking about living another life after death. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes people just mean it in the sense of justice. Karma is Buddhism. I thought that was Hinduism. Either way, I mean, justice is a equalizing. It's a equalizing. Uh, it's an equalizer. You know, see, there is a there's a distinction there. You know what I'm saying? Because karma is it's always a return. It's always a return for your behavior. You know what I'm saying? But see, with justice, right? It could also be a return for somebody else's behavior. So that's why I say it's an equalizer. You know, we living in a world where things is happening. Right? We see, like for instance, we see things happen to children where you say, well, what they haven't been alive long enough, right, to warrant some of the things that might happen to them. So now, in order to make that situation just, right, you know, they have to sow what they reap. See, karma is a little more limited to reaping what you sow. You see what I'm saying? It could be, and see, it's not just, it's not negative and positive. That's why I say it's an equalizer, right? Because look, you know, see, first, I reaped the knowledge. See, now I'm sowing it. See, that's the equalizing right there. You see what I'm saying? Much was given, much is required. He said, this is where with justice there's a victor and or a victim. I don't know if you see this question on the screen right there from 2016 New Year's Eve. But Bank to Haiti, Farm Bank of Haiti. That question is for you. going on. But so yeah, we got any? Guess we could take one or two more questions. We can take one or two more questions before I go and prepare my pasta and string beans. Go along with my chicken. Do you still teach at the school? Yep. There's a question for Farm Bank of Haiti. You know, it's funny you asked that because I'm in the midst of doing that. That's one of the reasons that I was able to do this live stream tonight was that I'm gonna get some rest because I need to switch back over to the daytime. Been out too much in the nighttime. Switch back over in the daytime, then I can start swinging back through. So, you know, we'll go ahead and wind this one down. You know what I mean? You know, uh, like I said, let's end on a positive note. You know what I mean? So shout out to Iron Sheik. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy. I didn't see the whole interview. I saw the excerpt that he addressed the thing about Fat Joe. I saw the excerpt where uh, he talked about his journey, his journey, uh, his journey, uh, uh, you know, to the knowledge. I saw those two. I appreciate those. You said growing up, was there one person who gave you the knowledge? Um, I mean, what you mean? Because that's not possible. You know what I'm saying? I don't, just in general, right? In the knowledge, right? And I guess in everything, right? Look, you got a preschool teacher, you got a kindergarten teacher, a first grade teacher, second grade, all the way up. So see, for some people, right? Uh, you know, yeah, in the very beginning day, because I'm saying that sometimes that's according to the person's ability. You know what I'm saying? Like, if some people, they not good with really meeting new people and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But if you got the knowledge, you know your lessons, you go around them and you're gonna elevate, you know, they gonna fill in a whole bunch of blanks for you. You know what I'm saying? And then you got some people that they like Harry Potter. They go outside, man, and look, when they walk through the block and when they leave out, everybody back there got the knowledge. But they can't really guide them through the lessons. They don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, once it really the person start getting into lessons, they really, you know what I'm saying? So, and just that's not the optimal way that you would want to do things. You see what I'm saying? You see, like, we all was there our days and we wasn't there our days. See what I'm saying? So there's some things that, look, I wasn't there at that time. You know what I'm saying? I pulled up at 7, right? But at 6 o'clock, Dumar was in there dropping some shit on the guys, right? And I missed it. And it just, it never came up in the rest of the conversations up to now, whatever. So see, you got to go to all the brothers, man, and sisters. You see what I'm saying? This is how, even when we be dealing with the history, right? And you see these various people showing up saying, well, how you know that's the history? You got that story. Bro, I've been all around. See, even across the street, which, those days is gone, but with a large man's, Willie and them, hearing what they had to say about the history. You know what I'm saying? Brothers who was, older, you 17, 18, 19, 20, you know what I'm saying? During the late 60s, people that was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Because they all had different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? They all was there in different things. They all had different like when you come into the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Some people already don't eat pork. Like that was one of the things Iron Sheik said. He said that as soon as he heard the guys say they don't eat pork, he had stopped eating pork already. You know what I'm saying? Some people come into the knowledge, they family already had them reading books on black history and stuff like that, so they don't need that. So, you show up and you got certain needs and you got built on, the brother built with you on certain topics. You know what I'm saying? And see, that's one of the reasons why I say, Allah said, if you want to see me, you got to come together. You see what I'm saying? Because all of y'all got a little piece and shit. You see what I mean? But you can't leave it like broken glass or something. You see what I mean? Where if you drop that bottle, right, and say the bottle is the mindset of Allah, right? Representative of the mindset of Allah, right? You said the first knowledge for me was unspoken. It was the impression I got from the gods. Good. You know what I'm saying? But let's say that bottle, is representative of the mindset of Allah, right? And then if you drop that bottle and it breaks into all those pieces, right? Those is pieces that each guy got. You know what I mean? Some guys got a big piece. You know what I'm saying? Some guys got little shards. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta put all those together. You said, what sister gave you the knowledge of the nation? I mean, look. I don't know if this is a trick question. You try to put me on the spot. Look. I grew up, around the gods. You know what I'm saying? So Earth never sat me down, right, and dropped some science on me, in that kind of form. You know what I'm saying? But I guess in the same way that the brother Sanji just said that, his first knowledge was, his experience of just being amongst the guys and seeing how they operate. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of us that, when we was getting the knowledge, right, like you just come into the knowledge and, that's one of the things, or maybe not everybody, but I was thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, how am I going to get a broad? I'm thinking about that day one, son. Like, God damn, I'm getting a broad to bear witness of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And then, you get down there to the rally and, you see Tawanas, you know what I'm saying, Law Most Precious Jewel, you know, you see Cypher, you know what I'm saying, Ajamine, Qualisha, you know what I'm saying, the different people, you know, and then, you know, when I was first getting the knowledge, at that time, like if you was under 16, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I just said Cypher, you know what I'm saying? You know, uh and so it was more like we saw how the earth sits. You know what I'm saying? Like we saw that, oh yeah, this does exist. Like we, you know what I'm saying? And for a lot of us, right, when we first brought a woman to the rally, we pretty much handed them over like, all right, yeah, look, you go with them and, you know, find out what that's about. You know what I'm saying? But you know, see, even mathematically, right? You know what I'm saying? Like certain things and certain people, right? Like see with women, you come with currents, right? See with men, you know, you supposed to be the same. You ain't supposed to be inside the 6 miles of limitation to be affected by the currents. But see, when you dealing with women, right? See, I'm a little bit too on fire to be in they, you know, to be in a world. Yes, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, not directly, you know, I could think of, you know what I'm saying? Uh, hmm. Uh, yeah, they would just be more things. They would be more things like that. You know what I'm saying? More things like, you know, how you supposed to deal with your young and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But not, uh, you know, uh, you know, this this knowledge right here. I'm about to give you some knowledge that's going to help you break down, you know, the culture degree in the 1 and 14 or something, you know. And, you know, like I said, I had that kind of personality where there was like Star Asia, you know what I'm saying? You know, she should be bombing dudes. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, you know, I don't have that kind of personality where, you know, uh, you know, and then, you know, you know, I was, you know, I had knowledge and my understanding. So just in general, people wasn't, you know, but you know, I told that story on here before, right? That uh I first met Star Mecca. I was with this other brother. We stand on the corner by the projects, and she's coming up the block, right? She's leaving the school or whatever. But I don't know who she is. I'm talking about education. We, you know, regular public school. So I'm standing there with a brother, and you know, I don't know her yet, right? So the brother says peace to her, and she says peace back. So then he says, greet the God, right? So she looks at me like, who, him? Right? So when I greeted her, right, she's like, yeah, right now, I gotta go to work. But we gonna bid, right? So if she said it in the way she said it, I looked at the guy like, yo, what the fuck? What you get me into? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, A little while later, I had met her, you know what I'm saying? So, now we in Cypher together. And there's a day when I'm walking to school, right? I'm coming up to, regular education, got my book bag on and everything. I'm doing my routine. And my routine at that time is when I'm walking to school, I'm going through my lessons. You know what I'm saying? So, I see a few people up there where the cipher usually is, right? So, I'm just paying attention to what I'm going through. But as I'm looking, I notice that I see Star Asia and she keeps going like this, right? And then she's going like this. When the Sufis do that whirling dervish stuff with they jacket or whatever it is be twirling, and she's going like this, like you can tell she's building, like she's making a point. You know what I mean? The brother's over there, and she's talking, and she's going the way she's going in, right? So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, damn, what the hell is going on, right? So right as I'm walking up to the cipher, like I'm saying, like I'm like say I'm like right here, right? As I'm walking to the cipher to get to my position right here, I hear her say, that's why I rose above all of y'all. Cause I know 120. Bro, when she said that shit, right? I looked at these dudes, right? And they looked at me. When they looked at me like, yo, God, you ain't gonna say nothing? And I looked at them like, y'all ain't gonna say nothing? And so, they just finished getting bombed, and then we went to school. It was just a bad look. Like, yeah, Star, you bombed him out there this morning. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. Like, I just I don't think I had the type of personality where that was gonna happen. Let's just say here. Trying to see this comment. You said, did your women accept the teachers and build with those earths you mentioned, or did you teach her? So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't, maybe, I'm not sure where you're from. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, it wasn't no isolation like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like no imam. Like if you in a neighborhood, there's a vast multitude of brothers that got the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, live it out, going from knowledge to born. You know what I mean? So, it's you would have to go out of your way to avoid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tell the truth, it's worse with the earths. If you think the gods got the hot seat, bring a woman in that bring a woman to that rally, and you will learn fast. You know what I'm saying? But absolutely, with that situation, yeah, I'm the one. It wasn't. I didn't bring her to the rally at 85%. See what I'm saying? By then, like I said, I'm getting the knowledge. We just turned 15. you know, uh, you know, uh, over time, you know what I'm saying, then, you know, you come to the realization, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, for one, you know, you already gotta be dealing with 24,896. So you gotta see the 24,896. See, that's the how she was raised and all of that. See, all of that is the type of mindset and shit that she have, right? Before you perfected the 25,000, right? And base your history on her by playing season her. You know what I'm saying? But just in terms of you know, like the way you talking about, just in terms of like, nah, there's no no imam. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why a lot of brothers in New York, you would hear say, you know, they from Brownsville or they from Harlem or they from Jamaica, because being in that area, you know what I'm saying, you're exposed to all those brothers over there. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of times for me, it was just the first person that I saw. Like, I might be studying my lessons, right? And I got a question, and you know, first person I see is knowledge, see, understanding. That happened to be the first person I saw that day, right? I'm studying my lessons, so I just got into 1 and 40, right? And I'm noticing that the when I was on the on the 1 and 14, it was 15,020 years. I mean 15,019 years ago. Now I get on the 1 and 40, right? And it says 15,020 years ago. So I can't, you know, I'm drawing a blank. I have no idea what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, understanding was just the first brother that I saw. So I was like, yo, what's up with this? And he was the first person that told me, yeah, now all these lessons was written at the same time. He was the first person that told me that the 1 and 14 was written in 1933. Then I found out years later that the 1 and 10 was written in 1931. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't really, you know, like you have to look for, you know what I'm saying, the person who, you know what I'm saying, you just went outside and, you know, it wasn't, you know, when you go outside, it's ciphers, it's all over. You know what I'm saying? So you see the brothers over there, like, oh shit, let me ask the guy. Um, well, you know, now you're starting to go into some detail here, but yeah, I knew her from high school. So yeah, all of that occurred, you know, when yeah, we was young. You know what I'm saying? But uh see, I didn't like I didn't impose the knowledge upon her. You see what I'm saying? She just happened to be there when the rocket ship was taking off. Like she knew me before, but I'm saying like, you know, we got to know each other better right as the rocket ship was taking off. So you know that skit on the Wu-Tang video where he calls the young guy and the young guy say, yo man, I ain't got no time to talk to you right now, man. I'm studying my degrees or whatever he said. That was the point, you know, where I was, where it's like, you know, I'm doing this thing. I'm so interested in this thing, right? That she's interested in it. Like, what is that? What is how's that? You know, why did you go from that person to this person? You know, but it was never like, yo, you got her this or you got her that. Look, question for you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you know, is you trying to like is this you looking for some pointers in drawing up a woman, or you just you know, when you writing you gonna write the book like they got for Fard, you gonna write one about me. What is that? What's the you get info for his book? Hey man, look. I mean it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's fortunate in some ways, it's unfortunate in other ways. I lived pretty much my whole life in public. You know, like the whole, like I said, you know, being a 5% happens in public. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, do we go? You know, we at the guy crib or whatever. But you know, especially like when we young, you gonna be in somebody's house with 40 people. I mean, there was a couple of houses that we could be in deep like that. Justice, you know, sometimes we might be at Wild's house. You know what I'm saying? Doing the hooky shit and all that. But you know, you outside. My favorite song from the Fame Labs catalog. You know what's funny? I just got right now. Look, y'all know I got the I got a project that's coming right now. Right, we did the artwork, all of that. Right, uh, you know, it's mastered. It's pretty much ready to go. You know, we just pressed up some copies. Right, and look, this is definitely this is one of this is one of my favorite jump offs. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but earlier today, right? See, we got that one was already mastered, but I got another project that I recorded, right? And then the guy took it to the lab and mixed it down. So today, I just got I just got the mix downs back. I just got and listen. I even told him like, yo, this second one is better than the first one. To the point where, look, I got to listen to the second one a couple more times, man. I think my favorite jump offs might start coming off of here. You know what I'm saying? But off top, uh, I like world domination. I like where does that leave me? Yeah, a couple joints. Yeah, Shakim just sent those back. Shakim just sent we got the 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 body of Christ is coming out first, and then the blood of Christ. Right, that's what I'm saying. So you you so that's what I said. You thinking about how to, because look, it was like that. Uh, where as I looked up to the brothers like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Life and Rakim, Shakim, brothers that was, my age group, maybe, a little bit older, but they had herbs. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain places like at Truman, even though that was high school, yeah, brothers up there had herbs. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I did the knowledge too. You know what I'm saying? But it you know, just at the end of the day, you got to remember, you the piece of steel with the magnet. What does this say? Everyone got their own methods. Some enforce, some let it come natural through their ways and actions. Well, uh, yeah, hey, listen, I don't know what it is, man. But I mean, when you say enforce it, we see that. Look, that's one of the mistakes that I made. So that's one of the things that I'm saying when I say the piece is still with the magnetic. You see what I'm saying? Because see, uh, you know, if see, you got unlike attract and like repel, and then you got like attract and unlike repel. You know what I'm saying? Now, generally, being that you're dealing with man and woman, right? Physically, that's unlike attract. You know what I'm saying? But mentally, right? Y'all gotta be one mind. She gotta reflect your light. You see what I'm saying? So, uh, you know, she's gotta be attracted to that mindset. You understand what I'm saying? And so that she's saying that, yeah, this is the stuff that I want to reflect. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, whatever else a dude might be into, where she like, yeah, and see, because everybody gotta guys is everybody gotta choose this for themselves. See, even when you're dealing with children, right? Yeah, you thrust it on them in their young years, but they gotta choose this for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of brothers, right, that you might run into. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, there's one brother. I'm not even gonna say, man. Look, there's one brother. Look, and his pops. Because I know both of them, right? And look, they be hard on the other siblings. You know what I'm saying? Like, well what brother you be, yo, man, he don't hardly bear witness that none of his brothers and sisters is this. You know, as they his physicals, he loved them, but you know, when it comes to this, nah, you know, they didn't choose this for themselves. See, that's what I'm saying. You gotta remember when they go outside, they gotta make all them decisions for themselves. Like from the minute you send them out, right? You send them outside with dietary law. They gotta make a decision when they go in that store, right? If they're gonna get the right thing or not. See, you gotta remember something. See, we say that we give people the knowledge, right? But in reality, we bring it out of them. So, you know, whether they a woman, whether they a child, whether they a grown man, right? All you can do is speak the truth, right? And if this is them, right, then that truth is just like, look, when you got a TV, right? If you want it to come on and you want it to work to its full potential, you gotta plug it into electricity. Because that's the power. You know what I'm saying? If you plug it into the electricity and it's a TV, then it's gonna come on and start showing TV and movies and shit. You see what I'm saying? See, when you take a car to the gas station and you put some gas in the tank, that's how it reaches its full potential, right? Is through that gas, right? And if it's really a car, then you're gonna turn it on and press the gas and it's gonna go. You see what I'm saying? So by the same token, if you tell a woman that's gonna be the power, right, that brings her to her full potential. You see what I'm saying? And if she's really the earth, then she's gonna be 25,000 miles. You see what I'm saying? But you can't like the proselytizing and the converting and reverting and all that. We don't do that. You know, and that's the same thing for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I heard the truth, the audio is choppy. It's probably just me moving my hands. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's for everybody, right? It's that, you know, once you hear the truth, right? Once you hear the truth and you this, right? Then that's why the power is the truth. Because see, it's no other things. It's not like, yo, if I feed you mad carrots, you know what I'm saying? Or if you know, I pour gasoline down your throat or tell you to stick your finger in a socket, none of those things is gonna be the power to make you come to your full potential. So you said the audio is going in and out too. Everybody saying, how about now? I turn it off. I turn it off and turn it back on. I want two. I want two. I want two. I want two. I like to introduce myself. My name is the Bitch Marquis. What's going on out there? Is it Is that it? You know what that is? That's a sign. That's a sign that it's time to get up out of here. Yeah, but like I said, you can't really, you know, like there's like, look, you know, you could force somebody. You said you saw the Biz documentary. Biz, you talking about Biz Markie? Don Bishop. You know Don Bishop. I don't know if you told me this before, but you have to wait and see. Uh, what's going on with the Hebrew Israelite brothers in the alien stuff? It seems like they joined. It seems like they joined with the what's the what's the what's I just don't understand how this coincides in with the Bible, and things is going. I told y'all when I watch YouTube, I watch straight trash. Some people say the sound is good. Some people say it's not good. I'm gonna tell you something. When it's love, I'm not with that. The mother is the first teacher. I'm not with that. I don't want to step on no toes. But look, I'm a master teacher. I don't teach. I don't want. I just told you. I don't want nobody telling my kids nothing. Especially if it's not somebody yourself. Listen. I'm the first teacher. I'm talking about listen. When they came out in the hospital, right? First the doctors do all their thing, right? The doctors got their little thing that they do. From there, I took the baby. I said the supreme mathematics in their ear, and then I gave it to the mother. See, in the whole time, I'm not saying that she didn't do what she was supposed to do, of course. But I'm just saying to say, I'm going to leave it up to her for 6 years. Hey, man, you get what you get out of it. After that, you get what you get. Yeah, I can't call it while the sound is choppy. But if I had some other people that could do some sign language or something, we would do that. But in the meantime, in between time, what I'm saying? Like I said, a couple things, check out who you said it is, John Andrew Morrow and Bilal Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? They got their presentation about the history of fraud. You know what I'm saying? Check out Iron Sheik. You know what I'm saying? He got a whole, it looks like about a 2 hour is the total video. You know what I'm saying? But, the two excerpts that I was really interested in, they probably was about 15 minutes. They probably about 15 minutes a piece. You know what I'm saying? We're going to come back. She just told me about an app, Speechify. We're going to see if we could get Speechify to read the the other book that we got from Encyclopedia Brown, you know what I'm saying, to you know, on the life and times of Fard and all of that, you know what I'm saying? You know, but just in general, it seems like it's some kind of revival going on right now where there's a lot of videos, say like in the last year to year and a half, right, that's made about uh, the life of Fard. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we had that on the table right there. And then, you know, other than that, we'll be on tomorrow. We'll be in here tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, see, it's too late. I'm winding down. He said, you can hear me now. You know, right when I'm out. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, you know, we still gonna be on tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You know, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? We do. There's something's going on here. You know what I'm saying? We're no views is up and down. So let's see. You know, I got this app where I send out text alerts. Some people that's been on a while, like Self Out Bill, probably recalls that when uh when hey, hold on. One is love. I gotta ask a question about this. Cause I've been having a question about this for a long time, right? Because see, to a certain degree, right, when you use a word like Darkim night, right? I mean, you also talking about me here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, what is that? See, because you know, I noticed that if a person gets mad at one person on this live stream, right? Or if a person, especially if a person gets mad at me, right? Like Shah said, look, told King saying he gets mad, that's what he starts talking about. Yeah, I don't even watch. I don't even watch your weak channel. Your weak channel. All you like is followers. All you got is followers. What is that? See, because to a certain degree, are you saying that what I'm speaking is not the truth? Like, would you say that to the Muslims about Elijah Muhammad? They, you know, because, you know, to a certain degree, you saying it as if what I'm saying, right, is not the magnetic. You know what I'm saying? You know, look, if there's a brother I stopped speaking to because it's like, yo, guys, you making this shit sound gay. And power to everybody, right? But I mean, I do wonder that. You know what I'm saying? Like you mad at me about I bought the last loaf of bread in the supermarket. So you said they nut ride you in the comments. I'm truly asking genuine questions and they think I'm trying to be funny or I'm trying to be ill will. Well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty ill will. That would be pretty ill will. You know what I'm saying? Like I just, you know, like look, because see, I lived my whole life, right? You know, where people love me. And I got how you think I got, you know, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that I did, right? How you think I was able to walk amongst all those older brothers? Are you saying they was not riding me too? You know, it almost seems like, see, you asking me these questions, you know what I'm saying? You know, you asking me all about how I got my wins and all that. But somebody else is not riding me? Why can't it be, right, that you asking me these questions to learn how you know how long these people been here? How you know how far these people brought themselves, right? with the help of my knowledge and wisdom and understanding, right? That, like I said, I reaped the knowledge, right? I reaped a high degree of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from all the firstborn and brothers that was older than me in the nation. What are you doing here? So let me ask you a question. Are we not riding the law? Riddle me that. See, because this is what I'm saying. Why? What you saying? You see that it's important to ask questions about life from brothers who did it before. I don't understand how that's not nut riding then. By your definition. See, what I think it is that look, we all come together, right? In different times, right? There's been different big brothers. Look, there was the Law Wise, there was Rakim, there was Melquan, there was the Law Rajin. There's different big brothers, and like I said, we go around them. I come outside. Yeah, I don't know, why this lesson says 15,019. Why that one says 15,020. Like there was a time when look, all the brothers in the neighborhood, right? We used to leave our house, leave our block, and go up to where Law Wise was. So, to a certain degree, I feel like you disrespecting my culture. That you disrespecting, right? This is how I got it, right? And this is how I teach it. So you say brothers were nut riding, joking. I was asking you those questions to be funny or to no, I asked that. I'm the one that asked that. I mean, you're asking me a lot of personal questions. Remember, I asked. I said, "Well, you are you trying to learn how to draw up a woman, or because look, when I watch trash TV, well, I used to. I had to stop in like the last 2 weeks. Some shit happened over there. I don't fuck with them no more. But I used to watch No Jumper. Nah. I'm telling you what I said. It's on audio and videotape. You can rewind it. I'm the one that asked, what's the deal? You writing a book? You police like I'm about to get indicted? Because the internet, this is this is this is law enforcement central now. You said some people do worship Allah now. I don't leave you alone, because that's another thing, that I am going to do this year. Look, self I build. There's a couple people. Self I build is definitely on a list of people, right? That's been, uh, you know, trying to get me to stop going into these situations. Like, see, I'm going back and forth with you. I know what the fuck I said. And like I said, it's on audio and videotape. So anytime you want to rewind, right, and see if I said, right, who you asking me these questions for? See, and in fact, if you hold on, All right. Coming up on the screen right there. Coming up on the screen right there is when you responded. Is when you responded to me saying, "Are you writing a book, or you trying to, you want to get some pointers on how to draw up an Earth?" You see right here. He said, "Nah, just getting the knowledge. At first, brothers would tell you need the Earth, but not show you how to draw one up." This is you responding to me asking you, "Why are you asking me all these questions?" See, that's the thing about audio and videotape, brother. I mean, look, we could do this. We could do this, right? The people on my channel can be nut riders, but I want you to know that you're the nut rider in chief. That you're the nut rider, like you. I gotta watch you, right, and stay on point. You see what I mean? And keep you away from my nuts. See, as long as we agree, see, you drop the knowledge. Now I got the knowledge. I know, right? I know that you're the nut rider in chief. You see, as the brother said, look, you were here asking the most questions out of everybody. Yeah, you coming from a genuine place of being a nut rider. Like, how's everybody else on the channel a nut rider? You asking me the most questions, getting all in my business, and you not the nut rider in chief. I mean, I just don't. Then what happened is you came with all of these accusations. But look, let me get back to what I was saying in terms of self-out bill, right? No, you can't ask questions because that's nut riding. You know what I'm saying? But self-out bill, uh, you know, for self-out bill is one of the brothers that try to get me to always ignore, these kinds of, side trackings. And so yeah, that's what that's my New Year's resolution. See, remember I told you already, like, the year we already went from knowledge to born, right? We in September. See, 10, 11, 12. Now I use my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to predict what's going on in 2026. And so we at that point, right? Where this year, right? I need y'all to keep me on point. If y'all see me slipping, right? Just bring me back. Say, remember what you said, God. Right? And we're going to keep the one is loves, right? The Omar Carters, right? We're going to just start letting they comments go right on past. See, like, he talking about the black man's God. Then what happened? Then you started nut riding for years, months, and days. We talking about you heard the black man's God, and you ain't hear nothing else. Since you was 14, how you is now 15 and a half? I understand. But like I said, do the each one, teach one, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? But like I was saying, I don't know if y'all with that, I'm gonna bring back the text. Remember I used to send out the like the SMS text whenever I was going live. You know what I'm saying? So we was bypassing the the YouTube alerts. You know what I mean? Because sometimes my alerts is going out, sometimes they not. So I might bring that right there back. You know what I'm saying? But you know, in the meantime, between time, I'm gonna sign off and say peace. See y'all tomorrow at the class. You know what I'm saying? If we got any topics that we want to cover, put it in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? And